Saddle House is a tucked away, wonderful little corner of the world that very few people know about. Even people who've lived in the area for a long, long time don't know that this little valley exists. It's got a rural environment that is second to none in our mind. My name's Brett Ditchfield. My wife Debbie and I are the owners of the Saddle House. What we were looking for with the Saddle House was a home offering peace, tranquility. It used to be a much larger property. It used to be a working cattle farm. It was also a horse stud. I've always been interested in breeding, so I reintroduced the horse stud side to it. The design of the home evolved as a consequence of my seeing a house that I really liked, so I consciously chased down the architect of that building, and that's how I found Dylan. And we had a good chat, and he came on site here to discuss the project. The brief that I came up with for Dylan was that we wanted a home that was going to be easy to live in, it was going to be low maintenance, and yet took advantage of the views that we get from the north here, but also allowed us to be warm in winter and cool in summer. We'd lived on the property for a number of years before we settled on this site. It's out of the gully in a way, so we don't get a sea wind, we only get a sea breeze. It's a comfortable, relaxed, tranquil home that sort of nestles into the rainforest behind it. Dylan was a very easy man to work with. He had some wonderful ideas. Sometimes we'd come up with ideas. Often Dylan would morph those and make them better ideas. But he never made us feel like we were being left behind. He was very embracing with what we wanted to achieve. He helped steer us in the direction of a wonderful home that we felt that we had a lot of input to. Dylan's passing was a sad, very sad time. Dylan was a wonderful bloke. He was easy to get on with. He was quirky. He was a family man, and he went way too young. Dylan knew that he didn't have a lot of time left, or at a point in time he knew he didn't have a lot of time left. The project was completed from a shell standpoint, but there was still a lot of design components within the house which hadn't been finalised. Luckily for us, Dylan had worked with a team of architects, Russell and Carolyn. He'd worked with them. He knew their talents and capabilities. They knew his talents and capabilities. So Dylan came to me and explained where he was at with things and said he wanted to ask these guys to take over for him. As sad as it was, the answer was of course yes. If Dylan thought these were the right people to take over and continue the project for him, delivering the vision that he had for the place, then that was the right decision.
We spend some time with every project trying to understand what is the unique element of that project. In this project, there was no doubt as to what that was. It was about taking somebody else's idea, one whose architecture you were very fond of, but also needed to bring your own work to complement that existing building and to finish it in a way that he would be proud of and that we were proud of. We were first approached for the Saddle House partway through construction. The original architect, Dylan Wood, was a dear friend of ours, and he worked for us a number of years as a graduate architect before starting his own practice.
When Dylan was diagnosed with cancer and he decided to stop treatment, he asked us to help him finish some of his projects. And one of the projects we came out to see was the Saddle House.
The design was very well advanced when we joined the project. The exterior form, materiality, and almost all of the details were already conceived of and discussed and coordinated with the builder Joss. Our role came where the interiors were less defined and that there was more scope for resolution and to carry the ideas of the exterior through to the remainder of the building. We had to absorb the building in its current state and all the drawings and all the design information, the beautiful model that he'd made, and really absorb it like it was one of our own projects. So that then when we needed to make additional decisions, we could do that from a position of understanding and authenticity with as much of the original intent as we could understand.
We could reimagine their brief, and while we knew how Dylan worked and how he liked to do his interiors, we also took it on ourselves to bring ourselves into the project and also to bring Brett and Deb into the project as well.
My working relationship with Dylan was pretty established when we took on the Saddle House. We'd been working together for almost 10 years, and we really understood the way that we would try and deliver our projects together. From a builder's perspective, there was so many challenges on this project. One of the challenges was redirecting the main road that you enter the Saddle House. Dylan's vision was to orientate your arrival at the north-facing dam, and this was achieved by redesigning the road, taking you up to the south side of the property where you enter the garage. The building being split into three sort of wings. We have the garage wing, the eastern wing, and the western wing. The western wing sort of houses 3 of the bedrooms and a guest entertaining area. The eastern wing of the house is definitely the most celebrated area, where we have, the entertaining kitchen, dining, and the master bedroom, which cantilevers out over a natural waterway.
One of the wonderful components about having a good architect is they come up with good ideas. Rather than just having a flat wall on the northern side of the house, we've got an architecturally curved envelope within which we've got this beautiful big window. The window slides open, and that then leaves a recessed area where you can just lie down, read the paper, have a cup of coffee. It's a beautiful spot to just position yourself and enjoy the outlook.
The rounded window on the northern side of the house was a very complex part of the glazing. It was very unique in its shape and very, very testing to everyone involved, but we're very happy with how it's turned out and how it looks and flows through the build.
The palette of materials used in the building are very simple and straightforward. Brick, timber, concrete, glass, and they're assembled in honest and authentic manner. Dylan was very fond of using a lot of timber in his projects, but he wasn't shy about using a variety of different timbers and mixing and matching timber to suit either the situation or to highlight their qualities, or the juxtaposition between different colours, tones and vigour in their makeup.
Dylan worked with us when he was a graduate, and we developed this palette together. So it's a very familiar palette for us. We use a lot of the same materials, and so we're very confident in picking up the design and materiality and extending it to the house.
A question we asked ourselves quite a bit during the project was, what would Dylan do? Sometimes it was an outlandish idea, perhaps, that we could all laugh about. Sometimes it was just the right idea for the problem we were tackling. The only issue was we could really only imagine what Dylan would do. And so our shared experience, us all knowing Dylan very well, meant that we could put our heads together and resolve things together in a collaborative manner.
I feel Saddle House is definitely our most accomplished project to date together. It was very interesting to try and articulate what someone else would do, and I think all in all we've done a really good job, and Dylan would be stoked to see the house.